Happy Sunday night and welcome to another edition of the Park Adventurers Club. Thank you guys so much for being with us. We appreciate you. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel for more great content, and also give this video a like as it helps people to find us. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys again. Tonight we're going to be talking about the difference between Disney Springs and Downtown Disney. Not just the differences, but we're going to get into the thick of it, the history, the happenings, all of it together. But before we get started, I need to introduce my co-host for the evening. You know her, you love her. It's Stephanie. How are you, Stephanie?
Doing well. I'm glad we're still in pumpkin spice latte season.
Why?
Because it's the best. I like peppermint mocha too, but PSL, you know.
I guess, sure. Yeah. Thank you so much for being with us again. We appreciate it, and thank you, Stephanie, for coming along tonight. As you guys know, we run this as a club. It's the Park Adventures Club, and so we have an agenda for the evening that is as follows. We're going to talk about the reading of the minutes, which is really the Disney news that's happened in the past week. The Walt Disney Presents, the Great Movie Ride figures appearing in the parks, a little preview of EPCOT. Festival of the Holidays, the Disney Destiny has set sail, and then something called the Disney Drop Shop coming to the co-op. I find that fun. And then the Springs versus Downtown Disney, and then what's coming up. But first, let's talk about this. Walt Disney Presents is a thing. We've talked about the fact that Walt Disney story used to be on Main Street at Magic Kingdom. They made that a meet and greet. Then they did this thing for the 100 years where they did Walt Disney Presents, and it's been over at the studios, and it's a place where you walk in and you get air conditioning, basically, is what you do there. But it's an exhibit of some history of Walt Disney, which is great. And you walk through, and then there's kind of like an homage to what's coming up. And right now they have sort of some like models of Monstropolis and things that are coming soon. And then you get to see like some costumes and things from upcoming or recent movies. And then you watch this movie, theoretically, about Walt Disney. And they sometimes change that up to like watch a 5-minute preview of Zootopia 2. Things like that. And so right now, Stephanie, they're doing a Christmas overlay on this, and I kind of love this idea. Did you take a look at this? Are you excited?
Yes. It's a Muppets Christmas Carol too. And you get to see the actual costumes for the Muppets. It's amazing. I wish that we had that dining experience that Disneyland has. We don't have that at Disney World. Yeah. So I guess this is the next best thing. You could see Kermit's outfit. It's really not, but that's okay. If we could have, Disneyland has the, Mickey's Christmas Carol. We could have the Muppets Christmas Carol. That's what I think. So,
what do you think? What do you
put
think
it
of
into
the
Hollywood
shorts?
Studios. The shorts are good. I do. I like that.
Okay. That's all we're doing on that. We're just like we like that. That's we're done. You're like, what do you want me to say, Rob? So there are three
I really
shorts.
love One Man's Dream. I kind of want to keep that, but go ahead.
But I don't think anybody goes and watches it anymore, though. Like,
no, that's sad because it's a really good show.
Here's the question: why wouldn't they have put the animatronic that they're putting in Carousel Progress in this?
Great question.
Thank you. That's why I'm here. I asked the tough question.
I was told by one of the Imagineers one time that if he were to, someone asked him, if you were to change anything, get your hands in and do whatever you want to it. He said Carousel of Progress. That's what he said. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That's something that Walt actually touched. That's Walt's idea. And you're going to get in there and you're going to change everything. I don't think so. But I think that that's the way that Imagineering, that's the mindset that they have right now. Probably that's why it's Carousel and not over at Hollywood. Unfortunately.
Well, you know what? Right now, I'm trying to figure out why people are saying that we are stuck on a screen here.
Oh no.
Let us know in the chat if if you're seeing us, because I'm seeing me and Stephanie, or if you're not seeing us. Let me know. I've seen some reports of some lag. And before we go on and do too much more fun and excitement, I want to make sure that people can see what we're doing.
Unplanned downtime.
Rebecca says no lag, all good. Care Bear says, I'm sorry, it was on my end. Looks fine. Yay. Okay. Care Bear brought the whole thing to a halt, but you know what? That's fine because we want to make sure everybody's able to see it. We've done this thing before where Patrick and I were on for like 15 minutes watching the chat, looking at the people there, and we're like, oh, why are they talking about movies? I thought, why aren't they talking about what we're talking about? And then it was like, oh, we're not on. So, so it happens, but yeah. I think it's a local thing. No lag. We're good. Let's go, said Jayware. All right. So before we move off of this topic, I do want to talk about these shorts because I think, we already have the film festival over at EPCOT. But I know you're not a fan. I know you're like, we could do better over there. That's fine. Maybe some Muppets. Who knows? They've got these shorts that are playing, and I love that it's the old school ones, especially Pluto's
Yes.
Christmas Tree. They could have done something Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. They could have done something with the new Mickey shorts. But they went with the old school Goofy and the Pluto's Christmas, and I love that you can go and see that. And I also love that this isn't like behind a paywall. This is like you can go in and see this during the day. And so there's something else. There's really not much Christmassy you can enjoy during the day at studios because most of the lights you can't see till night. And then, a lot of the other things are only at Jollywood. This is something that you can go and experience. And what does it really cost them? They put 3 new cartoons that they already owned into the projector, and they brought out, like you said, they brought out the costumes from, which is adorable, the costumes from the A Muppet's Christmas Carol. So there they are, the Muppet's Christmas Carol costumes that you were talking about earlier.
Yay.
And yeah, it would be great. If we could get a Christmas Carol Mickey or Mickey Christmas Carol, just like California, a meal, or a Muppets Christmas Carol would be awesome. Just not that creepy Robert Zemeckis, Jim Carrey Christmas Carol, like the Uncanny Valley,
yes,
walking around
yes.
giving you stuff like that. We're actually going to review that one on Look on the Plus Side pretty soon. So
he's more like Lemony Snicket.
Yes, true. All right, let's go on to our next topic is the Great Movie Ride. Do you remember the Great Movie Ride, Stephanie? I know you're very young, so I'm not really sure if you remember. It was an attraction that they had at at Hollywood Studios once upon a time. And the figures I thought were all like sold off or lost to the universe, but no, they held on to some to put them into the windows on Hollywood Boulevard for the holidays. Do we love this, or is this like a slap in the face to Busby Berkeley's Footlight Parade to put these ladies in the window? You can see their like swim caps right underneath the caps of the Santa caps. But what are your thoughts on this? I was excited at first, and now I'm not sure.
Well, at least they're getting some being seen. They're getting some playtime in this. They're not just sitting back in a U-Haul or a pod storage unit or something like that and never to be seen of again. I like that the detail. And if you remember the ride, you would go through and they would be on this big tower and they would have kind of a screen in front of them with the bubbles, I think, was kind of making the
Correct.
snowflakes or something going around. And you can't really see the detail, but up close you can. Each one of them has a little bit different expression. They have a little bit different eyes and this kind of thing. They really put a lot of effort into it. And I love that. I know that they're static, they don't move, but hey, I'm glad that they're coming out.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. It's it's something that Universal does all the time, where they throw back and they go, hey, remember we used to do Back to the Future and Ghostbusters
Yeah.
and Kong and all those cool things? Remember we used to do all that? And you're like, yeah, we loved it. Why did you get rid of it? That feels like a very similar thing here. They're obviously playing to our nostalgia when they show stuff like that. It's a little nod to the fans, which is nice. It's nice. There's nothing about that, but also at the same time, it would have been nice if we got to keep the Great Movie Ride. That would have been pretty cool too, guys.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, but they appeared this week. If you want to check them out, you can find them at Hollywood Studios. The Busby Berkeley's Footlight Parade. You can flex on your friends and tell them, hey, you know what? That's from the Great Movie Ride. And they'll go, the what? And then they'll go, let's just ride Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Oh.
We've talked about a lot of Christmas stuff, so the next thing on the list is another holiday Christmas thing, but it's something that hasn't happened yet. It's the EPCOT Festival of the Holidays. This always starts on Thanksgiving. Up until then, it's going to be Food and Wine Festival. That's still going on. I was talking to fellow park adventurer Jake, and he was saying he was going to EPCOT to see John Stamos. And I was like, oh, cool, the Candlelight Processional. He's like, no, he's playing drums with the Beach Boys. And I was like, oh, that's right. We're not there yet. Like we keep thinking ahead for Christmas. I'm like, we're not there yet, so it's not the Candlelight Processional yet. But Disney came out, and we've been getting some things here and there about EPCOT, but they came out with the menus of what's coming to the EPCOT Festival of the Holidays, and then also some of the performers that come out, like the different Santas, Père Noël. And the Father Christmas makes a debut there, and so I wanted to ask you, like, have you looked at all this stuff? What is it that's special to you specifically about EPCOT Festival of the Holidays?
I love I think I've said this before, the Santas in each of the countries, because they are from their own traditions and from their own stories, and the decorations, of course, are specific to those countries. So I love that too, because you can just walk around and appreciate just like the little bears in Germany, and the different toys and things like that they have for the different countries. In Norway, it's all very kind of rustic looking, and carvings and things like this. I think they have a barn Santa or elf or something that's there, mischievous elf. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun, and if you have time to walk around and actually watch each performance, you learn something, and you also learn how similar the stories are throughout the world, really. So it's really neat. I really love the Festival of the Holidays. I don't it's a contender for my number one. I really love Festival of the Arts, as you know, but this one, I don't know, it's up there. The only thing I would say is kind of a good thing and a bad thing is that it doesn't start till after Thanksgiving. It starts in the beginning of Christmas, really, Christmas season. But kind of like what you were saying before, Rob, it kind of makes it like special, or more special, to keep it closer to the actual holiday than, say, like, starting in July for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party.
Yeah, no, I wonder. That was my follow-up question to you: is do you think it's more special because it's so short, or do you think it's really? Also it's got Christmas magic. That's special too.
Yes.
Like that's like secret sauce that we don't get in any other of the festivals. But honestly, I think back in the day, my favorite was the Flower and Garden. Until I met the Festival of the Arts. How are you? That was then my favorite. I do like Food and Wine. Food and Wine's a good one, but I honestly think that probably Food and Wine's number like 3, and honestly probably the Flower and Gardens number 4, and this, I agree, is number 2 for me. I don't think there's a competition though, because I do love Festival of the Arts, and maybe it's just because that means that I get to escape down to Florida in the January-February time
Yes.
frame. But
Yes,
anyway, they
weather's great. The
yeah.
crowds are lower. The weather's great. But I will say, because you get so much bang for your buck for the Festival of the Holidays, because you can stay for the candlelight processional, and you get to see a celebrity that comes out. I really wish I could be there for Jordan Fisher. That's the one that I'm missing this year.
Because you
But
think he's going to sing Happily Ever After, and he's not. I mean,
may,
maybe he will. I don't know.
maybe. But still, I think it's really special to be able to see somebody that you otherwise wouldn't see in that position, telling the Christmas story, and then the choir behind them is gorgeous, and you have so much I love the theming and of course at all the hotels you have all the different themes, so you can really make a trip just out of Epcot. Honestly, I mean, of course you want to go to the Magic Kingdom and see all of those beautiful decorations too, but Epcot's like a full day or two over there to get everything.
Well, but keep in mind the other thing is that the things we love about like studios and Kingdom is Jollywood and the Mickey's not Mickey's Very Merry. I always do that. Mickey's Very Merry, but they're behind paywalls. You have to pay an extra ticket. This is stuff that happens just like
Yes,
at Disneyland. This is stuff that you just get for being there at the holiday season.
exactly.
And I think that's kind of awesome. So, like you said, bang for your buck. Is that what you said?
Bang for your buck.
Yeah. By the way, if you've ever been like recently during a place when like there's no festival going on, you feel like you're gypped. Like, what did you
Yes,
do? Like, why did you do this to me? There's nothing here. You should give me a discount for being here when there's not a
they
festival.
really should.
Because the festival happens all the time, and in any weeks when there's not one, it feels a little sad. Now, I need to stop down because we have some super chats from our good friend Jungle Cruiser, and of course, yeah, he's awesome, and he needs to tell us some stuff, and I need to hit the sounder for that. So love that sounder. The first one from Jungle Cruiser is Rob saw the holiday story time with Deadpool today. It is still the best show ever. Also got some additional plastics today. Jungle Cruiser, thank you so much for that super chat because he and I have a similar addiction. And instead of like kind of trying to like sponsor each other to get away from it, we sponsor each other to get more into it. So thank you, Jungle Cruiser, for
Enabler.
that. Definitely an enabler on that front. So, again, I know that he had talked about going to see the that's exactly what we were just talking about. You don't have to pay extra to go see that story time with Deadpool at the holidays. If you're going to Disney California Adventure, you can just see it. But he was talking about it a couple weeks ago, I think, when Shannon was on. She's like, I don't get Deadpool, and I'm like, you don't need to. Like, it's gonna. I bet it's hilarious. So, but then he hit us with another. I know, it's pretty awesome. So another one from Jungle Cruiser that says also Disneyland Resort has gone from over 36 ticket sales locations to 5. All ticket booths in the Esplanade to be demolished. Wow. Well, you know what?
Wow.
That kind of makes sense. Thank you for that information as well, Jungle Cruiser. That kind of makes sense because, most people don't stop down to buy tickets. You buy them online ahead of time. I'm looking to go to the Busch Gardens Williamsburg Christmas Town in 2 weeks. And when I'm looking at tickets, I'm not like, oh, let me just wait till I get there. Like, I'm going to be
No.
like, let me go ahead and have that on my phone so I can just, go through, swipe that and go in. So it's just another sad thing, like getting rid of like payphone booths and all those things.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
End
a
of an
sign of the
era.
times. Yeah. Well, and the Grand Floridian just redid their lobby because, not everybody needs to check in at the front desk. So it's a different kind of a concierge setup rather than the front desk that they used to have. So.
I'm kind of surprised that they didn't turn the booths into a guest relations though, because that still has a ton of long lines. Because if your ticket's not linking to your My Disney experience or something, you gotta stand in line and get that figured out.
Yeah. Very, very true. Before we move on from the Festival of the Holidays, though, let me ask you, did you look at the foods and are there some where you're like, oh, that looks pretty good? It looks like they've gingerbread and sugar cookied the heck out of everything. Some
All
of
of
these
it.
cookies, this gingerbread molasses cookie looks amazing. These little prototype cookies that are from like the Spaceship Earth, they look good. I thought that was the only Spaceship Earth cookie. And then I scrolled down, I was like, oh, wait, there's another Spaceship Earth cookie. But like, I was looking at some of this stuff, these Reuben croquettes, they really do get a little bit interesting on this stuff. Brown sugar and mustard glazed ham sliders. There's the croquettes. There's the sliders. But these beverages, Cigar City Brewing Oatmeal Raisin Cookie Brown Ale.
Yes,
Keel
please.
Farms Pecan Pie Hard Cider. You like that kind of stuff? The flavored
I love
ciders?
my Yeah, my husband laughs at me all the time. He's like, "You just basically want to drink sugar." I'm like, "Yes, that's doesn't everybody?"
Can we just get an icy up in here? That'd be great. This Figment holiday sweater Liege waffle. I love when I have to try to explain Liege waffles to people and I don't really honestly know the truth about it, but I'm like, okay, it's like a coated waffle more, and it's like, but I just make it up. It's fine. But is there any of that stuff that stood out to you, or you like all of it? I mean, and so much of it, again, as a lot of these things, as Jollywood, as Mickey's Very Merry, they're all almost like 90%. It feels like sweet instead of savory.
Yeah, that's the only thing about it. That's why I like Festival of the Arts so much. I feel like there's a good balance between the two, and probably at Food and Wine a little bit more of the savory side. But on this one, yeah, I would probably have to walk around World Showcase like 4 or 5 times just to walk off what I already ate as I go back around again to get another one. But I love it. I think it's great, and I think there's something for everybody. They're stepping up their cookie game, I will say.
Well, you got to do the cookie stroll, so you get that completer cookie. I
Exactly.
just that nothing is more hilarious than a completer cookie. I don't know why. It's just so funny to go.
And they're
We need.
never like super good. The completer cookie's pretty. It's usually like a pretty design, but they're usually just a plain sugar cookie. And you're like, oh, I'd rather get I mean, you can purchase the cookie jar and you can put all your cookies in that or something, but that's what you should get.
Yes, all of it. But you have to buy individually, as opposed to going to Mickey's Very Merry. You get them wrapped, and then you give them to your teachers when you get them when you get home.
I do.
You do exactly. Let's talk about topic 4, which is the Disney Destiny. My feed is blowing up with all these influencers that are on the Disney Destiny. Scott Gustin was actually in the the control room of the Disney
Of
Destiny. I
course
was
he
like,
was.
please. So I responded to him. I said, please don't break that ship before I get a chance to get on it. Please don't do that. Like why are you allowing him down there? I don't care if you put a hard hat on him. Why he's not qualified for that. He's not cleared for that. I don't know what you're doing. Of all the ships that are in the fleet right now, is there one that you go, that's the one I want to go on? I mean, is there enough differentiation between all of them that you're like, that's the one for me?
The Wish class, maybe not, because they all seem very similar. And I'm going to back up. I do really love the scene in this one, but the one I'm holding out for is the Adventure because it has the roller coaster.
The Adventure looks like somebody took the Mall of America in Minnesota and put it onto a ship, right?
Yes, exactly.
So the Disney Destiny has officially launched, and like I said, there are a lot of influencers on it. There's and it seems to be overwhelmingly Marvel, because you've got a big
Yes.
meet and greet presentation with Loki. You've got the Black Panther statue in the lobby. You've got Spider-Man hanging off the back. It's it's a little bit more like that, and it's a beautiful ship. I mean, no doubt about it. So here's a few pictures. There's Loki, and here's the Shadow Man in his parlor. I love the fact they overuse the
Love
term
that.
parlor these days. The Pride Lands show. This one is Cruella de Vil's place. I don't know how you could miss that
Hmm.
with the piano and everything. So, like you said, the lounges. I love the fact that they have the Haunted Mansion parlor here, and then also on the Treasure, and then they have the Beacon Barrel at the Magic Kingdom, but they have the Cask and Cannon
Cask and Coat.
on here. It's
Yes.
like I don't know. I don't know who's naming this stuff. It's somebody's full-time job to name stuff. Whether they're doing a good job or not, that's not my job to say. They're not. But the Haunted Mansion parlor is on both. But I would say for me, the Treasure is the one I want to do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will say this. When we talked about a throwback to one of the Look on the Plus Sides we did recently, Tangled, and it was you brought up the point, Rob, that this is a movie that they really kind of led in with Flynn, so that you kind of incorporate the guys into it, the little boys that want the adventure, the excitement and everything, not just a princess story, even though the princess stories have all that too, but I digress. The point being that this one, I feel like it's exactly what you're talking about. It's more adventure. It's more, of bringing them into it, not necessarily just all the princesses all the time.
Yeah. Somebody in chat, as Jayware said, I want to see the Oriental Land Company cruise ship. Like, I want to see what they're gonna do. Yeah, me too. Because again, I get to say it one time per show. When I was in Tokyo, you
Hmm.
could definitely see that OLC difference. It's not the Disney difference; it's the
I
Disney
believe it.
OLC difference. But one of the things my daughter pointed out was everything is sponsored, and wondering if it's that sponsorship money that helps to fund and fuel the better animatronics,
Yeah.
the better attractions, the better theming and all that kind of stuff. But
As
honestly,
Epcot and Magic Kingdom used to be, right? When they first opened, it was all
yeah.
about sponsorships there.
And I think that I probably had a chip on my shoulder about that and wanted to not have sponsors on everything. And then now after seeing the OLC, I'm like, I was wrong. We should totally do that. So yeah, the Japan is talking about having their own cruise ship. And I just feel like there's so many, like obviously they know something we don't. They wouldn't put out so many cruise ships if they didn't think they could fill them. But with the,
Yes.
adventure coming and then promise of even more ships after that, it seems like there's way too many. Um,
Yeah. There's a lot.
to me,
And I feel sorry for the older ones, but people grew up with those. And so there's
Magic
that
and the Wonder.
nostalgia factor, the magic and the wonder. And I guess because they're smaller, they're able to do more specialized, like going in the inside passage in Alaska. That's why they send the wonder up there. So maybe that's going to be where they stay. I don't know.
Well, let's get to this final topic and then get on to our main topic of the night, which is Disney Springs versus Downtown Disney. The last one is actually something that spawned this conversation in my head, is the fact that there is a new shop opening at the Disney Co-op. And the Disney Co-op is fun. I like the Disney Co-op. That is, you go in there and they kind of would mix it up, especially during like the 50th anniversary. They had a bunch of like different lines of merchandise in there, and it was well laid out. There's an art place in there. It's adjacent to the Disney photo pass place for some reason. But the way that that's all set up, it was like, okay, this is going to be different every time I go. And so it's a fun place to go and see. And there's like housewares and clothing and all these other things. And it's almost set up like a marketplace, like miniature shops. And I think it's called the
Hmm.
Co-op Marketplace, right? So they're getting rid of their D-Tech there, which is interesting because that means I think that the last one is really the one in Tomorrowland for D-Tech. So that's just like
Yeah.
the booths that Jungle Cruise were talking about. Maybe it's gotten to a point where nobody's doing it. I don't know. My wife's last two phone cases came from D-Tech, so not really sure
Oh.
what the deal is there. But they're going to get rid of that on, I think it's November, like it's this week, I think. And then they're going to open up. They're also getting rid of the Vault collection store, and they're going to open up this thing called the Disney Drop Shop. And I read this and I was like, I felt like either this is a unique and interesting experiment, or that as a culture we are doomed and life is over.
It's the latter.
Do you think so? So basically, it's a shop where you go in and you buy blind box stuff, and there's then these little sections for you to do live streams from to open up to do your unboxing.
Hmm.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. The blind box thing I'm not sure about, but the issue with the I think it's the resellers really more is what it is. They go into the stores and they pull all this merchandise off the shelves, and then they sit there on Poshmark or Facebook Live or TikTok, Instagram, whatever, and they're like selling it live, and they're taking up giant carts full of things, and you're not able to get past. And I've seen a few and how people are just fed up. So maybe this is Disney's trying to be solution to that problem.
From this article, the space includes dedicated stations designed for those who want to record or stream as they open their items. The shop takes over the former home of the Vault, which will operate through November 16th, which is today. So if you were looking to get there and you're watching this now, sorry, it's closed. And then also the D-Tech on-demand kiosk closed the same day. And I think that the opening for this is November 21st, which is this coming Friday. So if it's a space, they don't have much time to turn that around, but do they really need it? I have a love-hate with blind boxes too, because I have a collector mentality, which means I want it all. And so the fact that you have the chance to get something and then, okay, you got your set complete, it's almost like you've accomplished something. And I know that's ridiculous. But like with
Dopamine hit.
Wishables, exactly. But you get it. you're in the medical field, you get it. But the thing with Wishables was that you could tell by squeezing them, and it said on the package, squeeze these. You could tell what it was or find out what it is, and then see how good you were and open it up. They've changed the Wishables now. They're in these sealed, solid boxes that you can't tell anything with. The same as vinyl Mations, the same as blind packs for pins. So they do a lot of blind pack stuff, and sometimes the blind packs are super expensive. There was a Figment set for the 40th anniversary of pins, and it was a set of, I think, a dozen, and there were it was Figment with one of the logos from EPCOT, and it was 2 in a pack, and they were $30 for 2 in a pack.
Wow.
Yeah. So, so it'll be interesting to see. I can't wait till I figure out the first person. It's not going to be me, but the first person that I see who's live streaming from the Disney Drop Shop, and how long that lasts. Like, I don't know. Again, I mean,
it feels gimmicky.
It does. But also, they've got to do something because they've got so much space at Disney Springs. And a lot of the times the merchandise just repeats from store to store because they've got too many stores. Which, then leads us to close our old business and launch into the new business, which is Disney Springs versus Downtown Disney. And I have so many things to say, Stephanie. So you and I were born and bred on East Coast Disney, Walt Disney
Yes.
World. Me well before you. Then we both worked there. Then we kind of started journeying as like we had jobs that would pay for it. We're journeying west to Disneyland and seeing the differences. And there are a lot of differences. And when it comes to the parks, and I think we've had this conversation before, and we'll have it again about like, is Disney World better than Disneyland and what's different and all of that, because they're not the same. People outside of the community think they're exactly the same. Are you going to Disney? They don't care which one because they think it's the same. And it's like, to us, a trip to Disneyland is a bigger deal because it's a further trip. It's much more expensive, all that kind of stuff. So back in the day, the very first time I set foot at Disneyland, there wasn't a Downtown Disney. And I keep hearing Mitchell from Modern Family call it Downton Disney because he was making fun of Cam and calling it Downton Disney. But that's the first time I'd ever gone out there. It was just the Disneyland park. There was not a Grand Californian. There was not a DCA. There was just a parking lot with a Carl's Jr. in it. And I stopped and got Carl's Jr. and then went into the park. And so that was very shortly before all of that took place, and they started making it the resort really that it is today. And part of that was adding a shopping district. Now that's not unique because City Walk exists at Universal, not only in Hollywood, but also Universal Orlando. We're not going to talk about City Walk, but I want to get back to kind of, let me ask you this before I get into kind of the history of it is with my history. Let's just talk about our individual. With my history with this marketplace, my dad, and I've told this story before, used to know that if I got a souvenir early, I was going to want another and another and another. So his deal was keep a lookout, see what you want, and when everything's said and done, we'll go to the Disney marketplace on the way out of town, and we'll get you your souvenir. Smart.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, exactly. Because like most of the stuff they have at the time in the parks was going to be at the Disney marketplace. That was my first experience with it. What was your first experience, or do you have a memory of like going to what is now Disney Springs?
I mean, I do, but it's not. I mean, it was World of Disney basically. So I remember the flat parking lots, and I remember being able, when I worked there, to park very quickly and run in and get something and get out and go back to my apartment, and that was great. And now they have these huge parking monstrosity, all the lime garage and the orange or whatever they are, and now it's kind of hedges you in, and I personally get very lost now when I'm going down to Disney Springs. But yeah, the World of Disney is what I remember the most. And I did go once to Pleasure Island. I didn't stay till midnight, but I do remember going with some of the cast members over there too.
Okay, well let's rewind a little bit then, and when this thing first opened up, and honestly, I've done a little digging here. I've done a little research, folks. just for you. I am for myself. I don't know. I always love learning more about Disney, but I thought that this existed as part of the 1971 grand opening of Disney World, because when it first opened, you had Magic Kingdom and you had what is now Shades of Green, but it was originally like the Disney Golf Resort, and you had the Polynesian and the Contemporary and Fort Wilderness, I think, and that was it. And so I thought that this marketplace existed then, but it wasn't until 1975 when it opened up as the Lake Buena Vista Shopping Village. Doesn't that sound nice?
Mm-hmm.
The Lake Buena
It
Vista
does.
Shopping Village. And they just felt like there needed to be a place for people to shop. And the important thing about it at the time was you didn't have to be in the parks to buy this stuff. You could just go. Then back in the Eisner era, he was like, people are coming to the Disney parks, and then they're going Downton. They're going downtown Orlando to, like, what was it, Rosie O'Grady's, I think was the name of one of these places. You're like, I don't know, Rob, I'm not that old.
I don't know.
But they would go down to these places and hang out. And he's like, we should keep that money here. Like, we should do that. And so that's when they opened up Pleasure Island in 1989. And so that was sort of an addition to what was the marketplace. So I loved Pleasure Island. I worked there when Pleasure Island was there. It was kind of awesome. I think that anybody who knows about the history of Pleasure Island knows that there was a place that may or may not have inspired the name of this particular
love
show, the Adventurers Club, right? So there were, for those of you who don't know, there were different clubs. You would go during the day and you could shop, and then at night they would close it down and charge a cover to get in,
Yes.
like it was a club. And you would go into the different clubs. They had the Rock and Roll Beach Club, and they had they had restaurants like the Fireworks Factory, and they had the Neon Armadillo, and which I think became like the BET Club, and they had the Comedy Warehouse, which was improv. And then every night was New Year's Eve, and they would have fireworks at midnight, and they would count down to New Year's Eve. It was awesome. Now they roll up the sidewalks around 10. The whole place closes down at 11, and everybody has to go home. So, yeah.
Cinderella, lose your shoe. Yeah, I liked the theming of it. I always thought growing up that was a reference back to Pinocchio, but apparently it was not. Apparently it was Merriweather Pleasure, right?
Merriweather Adam Pleasure. Yes, exactly. And
Adam
the funny
Pleasure.
part
Sorry
is,
about that, Adam.
it made too much sense that it would be like, you've got this mythos of Pinocchio and and Pleasure Island, and you name it Pleasure Island, but it's not Pleasure Island.
It's not.
Like,
And
I don't know.
they have this character, the what is the Meister, the Pleasure Meister or Fun Meister or something?
The Fun Meister.
Funk Meister. Thank you. And he apparently was, according to the story, according to lore, was something from the Greek mythology or somehow got in Florida, and that's how found this or something like this, and he became the symbol for Pleasure Island. Isn't that crazy? But what I found even crazier is that the villages, and we go back to the Lake Buena Vista Village, which was renamed from Black Lake. I think that's a good rename, honestly. Black Lake sounds a little bit too,
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Correct, yes. But they were going to have places. It was almost like Walt's in his vision for EPCOT, where people would live there, and they were going to have homes and apartments or something like this. And then they realized that people would be voting and potentially voting against what Disney was planning to do in the Reedy Creek, so they were like, okay, now it's just going to be vacation homes and places. And that makes me think of Saratoga Springs, right? Because it's all around that same area. But how interesting that they were planning to have place where you could live within Walt Disney World, and now they do. It's Golden Oak, but you got to pay a pretty penny to get that.
Yeah. The villas at Lake Buena Vista, That's what that was. So
That's
the
what it
things,
was.
yeah, it was the villas at Lake Buena Vista, and then they turned it into the Disney Institute, where you could go and you could actually have a
Hmm.
vacation where you learned how to do things like photography or horticulture or things like that. You could make your own
Cooking.
topiaries and cooking and all of the things Disney had experts teaching you how to do. Again, a great idea, I thought, but it never
Love
really kind
that.
of took on because a lot of people are like, I want to go to Disney, but I want to go to Disney. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
go and learn. That would be cool. Like that was the thing, kind of like there have been other things that Disney has done, and I mentioned Star Cruiser in this realm before. Do it somewhere else. Because if I'm in
Right.
Orlando and I have to choose which thing I'm going to do, I'm probably still going to do the parks. If the Disney Institute existed in, say, Chicago or somewhere else, because it could have been indoors, that
Yeah.
may have been an easier thing to do. But probably you had your resources there. You could, get an ad hoc professor from the Disney PhotoPass team to come over and do and teach you how to do things. So that was the Disney Institute, and then they became Saratoga Springs. But that was the villas at Lake Buena Vista originally. So that was that. So before they came up with Disney Springs, they came up with something else. Do you remember? Did you remember hearing about this?
Was
Hyperion
it
Wharf.
Hyperion Wharf? Yes, I did hear about it. Never experienced it though.
No, it never happened. So it was
No wonder.
it was 2010, I think, that they came up with this, and about 2013 when it was supposed to open, then they were like, okay, well, we were talking about doing that thing, but now we've changed our mind yet again, and we're going to do Disney Springs. So Disney Springs was
Gotcha.
like Hyperion Wharf was supposed to be the evolution, but back when the marketplace existed, it was the Disney Downtown Disney was the name of it,
Hmm.
and it was the three
Yes.
sections. It was the marketplace, which was the original marketplace, Pleasure Island, which was what it was, and then they added Disney's West End, which goes
West
basically
End.
from the AMC Theater and Planet Hollywood all the way down to Cirque du Soleil. So
Right.
those were the three sections of what became the East Coast Downtown Disney. It took me forever to get out of the mindset of saying Downtown Disney about Disney Springs until I think I started going more to the Downtown Disney in California. And now that one to me is very clearly Downtown Disney. So please, Disney, don't change the name of that one because um, I know that's going to be a thing. So eventually, here it is, Disney Springs. They came up with the what that was going to be like, and there's lore behind this one. There's a story that this was like in Florida. There were all these cities that came up around these natural springs, and this one,
Hmm.
this was a one of these communities that came up, and it has four areas. Do you know the four areas of Disney Springs right off the top of your head, Stephanie?
No.
So you've got the marketplace and the West End; those still exist
Okay.
as two. Then you've got Town Center, which is the covered part,
Okay.
and then the landing.
The landing. Okay.
Yeah. And so all of it is supposed to be themed after like this community that popped up around a natural spring, which of course is untrue, Black Lake, right? So they have that's the story. Now let's talk about downtown Disney in California. It doesn't have a theme, and as a matter of fact, I
Nope.
feel like it's like any airport I've ever been in. It's been in construction under construction as long as I can remember. Right?
Yeah, probably. Probably. But the locale, I mean, why would you give up real estate right there? I mean, making people go walk that direction from Disneyland Hotel or from Grand Californian, yeah, make them pass by some stores or shops or whatever.
Yeah. So the way that downtown Disney is laid out is it's a connecting corridor between the parks where the Esplanade is and the Disneyland Hotel, which exists at the opposite end of it. And they basically created a bridge over the road and they basically made land for this thing. And so its design is just like this corridor that you walk down. But the big difference is it's right there. Like that's the
Hmm.
difference is it's right there. It's right there with the hotels. It's right there with everything that you need. It's right there, as opposed to Disney Springs. Even the closest thing, which as we talked about is Saratoga Springs, it's not right
Hmm.
there.
No,
Like
and I heard that originally they were going to have an extension of the monorail run from what is now Epcot over to what, the villages back then, or have some sort of a people mover set up over there. Heck yeah, please, let's bring the monorail over. I think that that would have been so much better than having the bus system that they have, or now having the garage system that they have. And it's a closed environment in that you have to go through security before you get on the monorail. So that helps. I love that whenever you can go through the monorail to the, Magic Kingdom, because then you don't have to repeat all the screening processes. You just do it at the resort and then you get on, you're able to go. So yeah, I think that that would have been a better service for the people coming over there. But I don't know. I like the downtown Disney. I like what you're talking about. The name of downtown Disney is very well named over there at Disneyland, because that's exactly what it feels like. You're outside of the parks, but you're not quite yet to your resort, and there it is. There's all the shopping and the dining and everything right in front of you. So, and
Yeah.
it's a very fun atmosphere, especially now. I will say, when you have little ones and you're tired and you're trying to walk from Disneyland back to your hotel, as I did last year, I'm like, everyone be quiet. We're trying to get through quickly.
Wow. Wow. Okay. All right. So again, let's go back to this map for a second, because I think if you've never been, it's important to know this whole black area here. That's the path that you would take. So you can see on the far left is, and I don't think my cursor is showing up there. No, on the far left is the Disneyland Hotel. And on the far right, you can see the big red Disneyland and California Adventure. And so the theme parks are down there. And so this pathway is, you take the pathway from the Disneyland Hotel all the way down to the parks and back. So it's all encompassing. And I think that's one of the things people kind of hate about Disney World when they come from Disneyland, is they're like, it's all spread out. I can't just
Yes.
walk from one place to the other. And I have huffed it from Disneyland Park all the way down to, I say all the way down, it's not like it's 20 miles, but all the way down to, it feels like it,
It feels
especially
like
with
it.
5 kids, right? All the way down to the Disneyland Hotel to go to Trader Sam's, and then to come
Yes.
back to the Grand Californian, but it's, they're all, I mean, this also, like, you're not, you don't have a hotel connected to Disney Springs. So I think that in this case, which is location, Downtown Disney wins hands down,
Yes.
because it's right there. Right. So, and,
I agree.
and it's a production. I love Disney World, but it's a production to get anywhere. So that's why if somebody's coming to me for the first time, they're like, hey, we're going to go and we're thinking about park hopping. I go, oh, think about that for a second, because you're going to have to leave that park you're in, get on some sort of transportation to get to the other place, to then get to the front gate, to go through security again. You're going to lose an hour easy going from one
Yes.
park to the other. I mean, there are ways, like if you get on the monorail from EPCOT after you've already been searched, you can get on the monorail and go over to the monorail station at TTC and then go from there to the Magic Kingdom. But again, it's not quick. It's going to happen.
No.
You're going to have to wait for monorails and things like that. So location here is key in the fact that you don't have to like go to Disney, downtown Disney later. Now, the convenience part from someone who's on vacation for Disney Springs is go back to your hotel, relax for a little bit, get a shower, get dressed, go hang out at Disney Springs and have a relaxing evening. Like that's
Yes.
another thing that you can do. You don't really necessarily do that, because once you trudge out of Disneyland, you don't necessarily want to spend another 6 hours in downtown Disney, for the rest of the night.
True.
I wish both of these were open later, by the way.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, but I loved the fact that when we stayed at the Grand Californian, that we could, I could run downstairs and go into World of Disney real quick and get something at last minute and come back in if I didn't have a ticket to the park or whatever. So I thought I think the convenience of it and the location is really key. Let's talk about the things that are the same, because it's funny that they're so much the same.
Yes.
The Lego store, both of them have Lego stores. Both of them used to have a couple other things. We'll talk about that in a second. But let's talk about the things they have. So both of them have Lego stores. Both of them have World of Disney.
Right.
But the World of Disney at Disneyland versus World of Disney at Disney World, it's just like it's a third or a fourth the size of the one. Because the World of Disney store at Disney Springs is the largest Disney store.
Yeah,
Anywhere,
but
right?
It's incredibly chaotic. I was just there a few weeks ago, and I typically don't go to Disney Springs, but I'm telling you, it was insane the amount of people there. And then they have like the checkout, but then you can also check out with your mobile. And then, I could barely walk through with, I mean, I had a stroller, but yes, I could barely walk through. And it was so like where it was before, how it was before back in the 90s, it was very themed. Whenever you saw all the princesses and the plush, you knew were in the kids section. And when you saw the, pretty sparkly things on the walls, you knew that that was the diamonds and the Pandora jewelry section or what have you. But now it's just all stark white and you have to find signs and things are not well, pointed. And then I just have so much to say about this because I had such a bad experience the last time I was there
You're talking
at
about the one in
at
Florida?
Disney Springs. Yes.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
and the other thing is, did you ever try going during COVID?
No, I did
You
not.
had they would at least on Saturday and Sunday they would close off the side and front doors and they would make you queue up in the parking lot behind the
Oh.
building and come in the back as they kind of clicked you in because of how many people they would
Hmm.
allow in.
Spacing.
Yeah, and so it was super frustrating because again I think one of the great things to me about the World of Disney store is let me just run in and grab blank. Let me run in and grab this. Let me run in and grab that because they've got mobile checkout. They've got multiple checkouts. If you know what it is you're looking for and you're not carrying 5 kids or you're not trying, if like it's very nice to be able to just pop in. That's why I like the Lime Garage because you can, it's close to World of Disney as opposed to the Orange Garage is close to Cirque du Soleil and House of Blues. So, again, for me, I would love to like go in the Lime Garage, run and get what I want. Now, over the years, it's become more difficult to do that because in the early days of Disney
Hmm.
Springs, when it was Marketplace, you could just roll up and park, surface
That's what I'm
parking in
saying.
front of the building,
Yes, they even had like
go in.
VI. They had like valet too, didn't they?
Yeah. And then you could go in and get what you want, come back out and leave. It was a very quick process. Now, on top of the fact that you have these ginormous parking garages, you also have to worry about the fact that you have both of them, Disneyland and Disney World, have to go through security, which you didn't used to have to do. It used to be, even at
Yeah.
Disneyland, the security for the parks was at the Esplanade, not back at the beginning of downtown Disney.
Hmm.
So that was the thing.
But
But
that's probably a good thing because they were those shopping centers are pretty soft targets.
yeah. So Lego Store Splitsville is at both,
Okay.
which you actually traded Splitsville, which is, if you guys don't know, it's a place where you can go eat and bowl. They traded
Yeah.
Splitsville for House of Blues in Disneyland. So that took over that spot. World of Disney we talked about. Earl of Sandwich is at both. Earl of Sandwich, currently they're moving it to a temporary location and they're going to build a bigger permanent location. Currently it was at the front near the Esplanade at Disneyland, and then now they're going to move it back to a temporary location, and then it's going to have its own new permanent location when they build it. Because again, as long as there's imagination in the world, there will Disney downtown Disney will never be finished. It just seems like it's constantly under construction.
Yes.
So that's a thing. And then there's a confectionery at both. There's an Avengers store at both now. There's a pin store at both. There's a Salt and Straw at both.
Oh,
Yeah.
didn't realize that.
I think that's pretty much the extent of. Oh, and a Star Wars store at both, which
Hmm.
I have a problem here. So let's talk about what's no longer there. At the Disney Springs, I hate that they closed instead of fixing Disney Quest. I hate that happened.
Hmm.
Disney Quest was such a great
I agree.
idea. I feel like they should have done something more about it, especially on rainy days to be able to go in there. That was great. Then it became the NBA experience, which then shut down, and now there's a new thing, and we'll talk about that when we talk about what's new. But so that used to be there. Used to be a McDonald's there, by the way. Do you remember that?
Oh, I didn't realize that. No.
Used to be a McDonald's when it was the Disney Marketplace, and then they were like, "Let's get this out of here." Um, so there's no longer a McDonald's, but there used to be one there. And then they used to have drone shows. That was fun. They had the
I did
one
see
drone
that.
show. They had the one drone show during the holidays years ago, and then they had the one
Hmm.
last summer at Disney Springs. So that was kind of cool
That's the
stuff
one I
that they used to
saw.
have.
Hmm. Yeah,
Over at
that was really neat.
Disneyland, what they used to have is they used to have an AMC theater. So just like the one in,
Oh,
in, in Florida, they used to have an AMC theater, and they used to have a rainforest cafe. Both of those things they got rid of.
No
Why are you
more.
laughing? Don't you love the Rainforest
Oh,
Cafe?
yeah, the Rainforest Cafe is an oldie but a goodie.
So they used to have a Rainforest Cafe, and they used to have the AMC theaters. And so the reason that I bring this up is that there's been a lot of attempts at redoing the entranceways in the park or to Disneyland. One of the things they talked about doing was something they called an East Gateway, and it was going to be this
Oh,
like parking deck slash entrance to get in. And they bought a like a hotel that that they were going to demolish and run people through. And then all of the Anaheim people said, no, thank you. We're not going to let you do that. So they're like, okay, we'll build it on the West End. And so on the West End, and as you can see here, you can see the Disneyland hotels at the top. They were going to build a brand new hotel. These two wings were going to be a hotel. And they were going to come right up to where the monorail was. So then you can see that dome is where the Lego store is. So they said to all the vendors that were there, hey guys, you got to get out because we're building this hotel and there is nothing stopping us. And so AMC was kicked out. Rainforest was kicked out. They closed down the ESPN zone and Earl of Sandwich. And they were all just like, we're done. We're closed down. We're going to build this thing. And then it was like, nope, we're not going to build this. But it was too late because AMC had already found another place to be. Rainforest Cafe was already shut down and now is a Star Wars outpost, which is basically like they threw vines and pipes on it and said, this temple area is now like a Star Wars outpost gift shop. So yeah, and then the ESPN zone that was there, or ESPN Club that was there on the corner, it was pretty cool. They reopened it as some kind of like a selfie station. They also sold merch out of it during COVID. Every now and then they open it up as something else. But yeah, this hotel was going to be there on the West End, so it would have been kind of cool. But then everybody again, it's been under construction forever. Now we have a new Eastern Side Gateway entrance plan. So this is what's apparently coming now to Disney. Now this is not the downtown Disney area. This is the opposite side. So this is what's happening on the opposite side of that. Thoughts, comments, concerns?
more hotels, I think, is a good idea for Disneyland.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially ones that are very close and you can walk from. I'm not saying that the Pixar Pier Hotel you can really walk to or from that one. I guess you can, but the Grand Californian, they make their money because of location, location, location. It's a nice hotel too. Don't get me wrong, but you're able to just have the entrance to the backside of DCA, and then you can get right into Disney Springs really quickly. So, yeah, I think they need to rethink that and do some more hotels over there.
Yeah. So there's a lot that's the same, and then there's a lot of things that have come and gone. The Void was at both. Do you remember the Void? Did you ever go to
I
that?
do remember. We never did, but
I
I
loved it.
remember seeing it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it was a virtual reality where you would go, and it was a VR.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah,
it
I was
was.
I
Mhm.
get AR and VR confused sometimes. It was a virtual reality. You would go in, and there were physical effects, and you would hold like an actual gun, and you were
Yes,
going around as like a
Stormtrooper or something.
yeah. So they had that one. They had a Star Wars one. They had a Wreck It Ralph one, and they had I think a Frozen one, and maybe an Iron Man one. And they shut all that down. I think because the Void went out of business. But I thought it was a pretty cool thing. Not my call. I used to love Once Upon a Toy that was down at Disney
Hmm.
Springs, and it was down at the
Hmm.
marketplace, and it had like the genie coming out of back when Disney was whimsical, the genie coming out of
Yes.
like the chimney, for lack of a better term.
Hmm.
And then it was this huge, deep Disney store with like a princess playhouse and all kinds of other stuff in it,
Hmm.
and to make your own lightsaber and to make your own potato head, and all of this stuff was in there. And then they closed some of that down to make a Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, and then they made some of it the Void, and now it's just like, can we make it the Once Upon a Toy again? Because it's now a shadow of what it used to be. It's almost like just a
Yes.
small place. Um,
Well,
I love the
and that's to say for the. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
For the marketplace that you were talking about, I feel like it is very reminiscent of the 90s and the Eisner era where, everything was very well themed and kind of larger than life. And that's what I grew up on, and that's what I wish if you wait long enough, 30 years, your clothing is going to come back around in style again. We're coming back upon this right now. Disney, like, bring some of that back. Let's get rid of this, cold, sterile stuff, and let's stick with the more themed thing. So I would think that, yeah, maybe you get your selfie with the genie popping out behind you, why not?
Yep. Then over at Disney Springs restaurants. Restaurants are all over the place at Disney Springs. I feel like there's not enough, and they're fixing that at Downtown Disney. So again, I think location, Downtown Disney wins hands down. Restaurants and food options, Disney Springs, you can go and take the family, and you could spend a day there. Like you could go and spend the day there and have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You've got like all these famous chefs doing things like Homecoming and Haleo, and then you've got like the let's talk about the 90s. The theme restaurants of the 90s were the Planet Hollywood and the House of Blues. They still exist there. So that's a thing. And then you've got Splitsville where you could go eat and bowl. And then, City Works, I think, is still open, even though the NBA experience is closed. There are more restaurants there than I can actually eat in because I just can't keep up with it. Now every now and then they fail, like Bongos, and then there was a Wolfgang Puck Express, which is now Eat by Manit, which I love. Earl of Sandwiches there. You've got Rainforest Cafe, T-Rex. So you've got two different versions of the same sort of animatronics in the restaurant type of a thing. Deluxe Burger is great, I feel like. And then you've got that barbecue place, which I've never been to, the Polite Pig. Is that what that is?
Yes.
And then you've got some food booths that are around there. Is there a go-to for you when you go with your family to Disney Springs that you're like, we always go to Boathouse, we always go to Jock Lindsay's? Is there a place?
Jock Lindsay's, because I just love, Harrison Ford and all things Indiana Jones, but really the food is not that great. I mean, I love the theming, but the food is just, it's okay.
Don't you think you make that decision a lot, though, at Disney Springs, especially, like
Yes.
the food versus the theming? The Planet Hollywood theming, love the whole Planet Hollywood thing. The food is okay.
Yeah.
It's just okay.
Mid.
It's overpriced and it's just mid, as you said. I would prefer to go to Chicken Guy downstairs than I would to go to
Yes.
eat the food there, but I love the experience inside. Same thing with T-Rex and with Rainforest. The food's okay, but you're going really for that over-the-top experience of what else is happening in there with the animatronics, and it's thundering and all that kind of stuff.
And I would say like something that kind of melds the two pretty well is Raglan Road. And I know it had some controversy in the recent years with, some crossover contamination stuff for food allergies. But I think that because you have such a good, you have such a good, show that you're watching, and that's really what you're there for. Is you're to see the dancers, you hear the musicians, and the food is decent. It is pretty good.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, because I'm watching the chat, if you guys will just drop into the chat and tell us what's your go-to restaurant? Like maybe I'm missing out on something great. Like I've never been to Raglan Road.
You've never been? Oh, well, now you have to go. But
I've never been to Wine Bar George.
Oh,
I've never been to
okay. And
STK.
Homecoming is great for brunch. That's when I was there for brunch. But the one that I now want to go to in researching for this episode was the theming for Disney Springs is really starting right at Deluxe Burger, and I had no idea. I think it's so subtle, and if you know about it, then you're going to see it. But if you don't, you just pass right by. So now I want to go and eat and like actually look at the walls and everything.
Yeah, and you could sit out on the water and see that, like that springs water. Yeah, David Lung said Boathouse. Fire Chief said Summer House. CKB says go to Raglan, Rob. Okay. Summer House was always very good. I love Summer House. Summer House is fun. I just went back in June. Was the first time we'd ever been. Took the family. We went. Got the cookie bar. Had to go do the cookie bar thing there too. Yeah, we should probably. do a deeper dive episode into just the restaurants from Disney Springs, because there are a bunch of
Yes.
them. Jay Ware says paddlefish. We talked about this on
Paddlefish is good.
the episode you and I did about the character meals. That my
Yep.
very first character meal was on that, but it wasn't paddlefish. It was the Empress Lily, and that was, we had a character breakfast there. Bring Din Tai Fung to Disney Springs, please. That is one that they just added to downtown Disney, and it is a chain, but it is the one there. Everybody talks about how amazing it is. So I've heard good things. I
Great.
haven't eaten there. I used to love at downtown Disney, Tortilla Joe's was always a nice option for us, and then they got rid of it, and that's what's going to be. And we're going to talk about the future in a second as we wrap up here soon. That's going to be a couple new restaurants there. So, but the other thing about the downtown Disney restaurants is you can go into the hotels easily. So
Yes.
we could leave the park, walk down to the Disneyland Hotel, and do Goofy's Kitchen for lunch.
Yep.
Or we could go down and go to
Napa
Storytellers.
Rose. Yep.
You're too high end for me, Napa Rose. I'm talking about Storytellers is as high end as I get. Um, Why am I blanking on the name of the jazz restaurant there?
I can picture it. I can't think of the name either.
House of Blues, Napa Rose. I'm gonna get there eventually. Um, Ralph Brenneman's Jazz Kitchen. So that's something unique to Disney Springs, and it's been there for a long time. So I think, and it's just been recently renovated. So that's one that's definitely there. You can do like some walk up stuff like Haagen-Dazs and Wetzel's Pretzels and Salt and Straw and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, although I don't know it's Haagen-Dazs anymore, it just may be Salt and Straw. I'm maybe looking at an old listing here. But honestly, again, I feel like the food, hands down, Disney
Yes.
Springs wins. So,
Yep.
but again, location, downtown Disney, it can't be beat. So let's talk about if you're coming from outside. If you're coming from outside of downtown Disney, you have to pay to park. And you can get, I guess, validated or be there for a short amount of time, but you have to pay to park, and then you have to go way down on the far end. At Disney Springs, there are 3 parking decks now. Do you know the names of all 3?
What is it? Lime, orange, and I don't know. What's the third one?
Grapefruit.
Grapefruit.
And then you have surface parking, and so you can park over down where the Cirque du Soleil is, and go
Cirque.
down that way. But there are 3 huge parking decks. We got into it in a previous place where we were about orange versus lime. Again, orange for locals is seemingly a lot easier to get in and out of. For people
Right.
who are staying on grounds, I still feel like lime is the best option, because most of the stuff you want to go just hit it and go, is the co-op and the stuff that's down in the marketplace side, the co-op
I
and
agree.
World of Disney, and I'm trying to remember the Lego stores down there, the pin stores down there, all that kind of stuff. It's quicker.
Emirates.
Yeah, it's absolutely. So it's quicker to go hit the Lime Garage and go there than it is to go to Orange. Now, Orange, if you're going to AMC theaters, yeah, absolutely go and park in the Orange Garage, because the escalator drops you off right there and you're good to go. So a lot of stuff to do. Like I said, I feel like you could spend more time at Disney Springs. So as far as the changeover to Disney Springs, they doubled the size of how many restaurants and shops there were. I don't know that matters to me too much, because I still just care about the same ones. I'm not going to go grab my Lululemon stuff at Disney, right?
Aren't you? The Mickey Lululemon leggings. Come on, Rob. I could see you do that. Yeah. Um,
I may or
here's
may not be wearing
here's
them right now.
here's the problem I have with it. So this is a short little anecdote. The last time we were there, like I said, a few weeks ago, it's not, this is before Halloween. I didn't think it was going to be that congested or anything, but I went to Epcot. My daughter really wanted an Elsa dress. So of course I go to Norway, right? Well, they have them, but they're in size like, extra, extra large for kids. So obviously she's 3. She needs the smallest one. So, okay, they said, well, maybe you could try some of the other stores. I went to 3 hotel, 3 different hotel resort shops. Nobody has the costuming there. And then I'm like, okay, well, now we're going to go to Disney Springs because, of course, World of Disney's going to have it. So we were staying at the Dolphin, so we had to be dropped off all the way down by the Cirque. So we had to walk all the way over to the marketplace, which was frustrating to begin with. Of course, we stopped at Jock Lindsay's. But other than that, so then we go to World of Disney, and I told you how, this horrible experience about not knowing where anything is. They don't have the dress at all. They don't even have an Elsa dress. They have every other princess, not Elsa. And then I come to find out the only place is at Magic Kingdom, and I just feel like they have too much stuff that's behind a paywall now. I really do. I feel like that Disney Springs, like you said before, should be the place where if you forget to get something, or got to go run and fly my violin teacher a present or something like that before I come home, that's where you're going to go. You're going to go there, you're going to grab it, and it's going to be pretty much everything that's offered that you can find. There's enough space, there's enough, places that you can get it. Why don't they stock it?
But there's also a lot of just repeat stuff from place to
Yes.
place to place. But there you go again, being relatable, Stephanie. You have to go buy a present for your violin teacher. You're so relatable. Yeah, I see. David says I got my daughter Elsa dress at Sir Mickey's at Magic Kingdom, which again, you're right. Like it's in the park
It's
and not
in the
in.
park.
Yeah.
Yes.
By the
You
way, I was
shouldn't have to buy a
corrected.
ticket for the park day.
I was corrected that the Jazz Kitchen is the name of it now. The Ralph Brenman's is no longer called that. It's the Jazz Kitchen Coastal Grill and Patio out at Disneyland. So it's at least still the Jazz Kitchen, still there.
There you go. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I mean, you know what? And I go back and forth about that because we've talked on the other, on past shows about the fact that, some of the stuff for like Galaxy's Edge should be specifically special to Galaxy's Edge, and you should only get it when you're there. And yet they sell it at Keystone Closiers now, right? Like, so it's not a big deal. But then at the same time, like you're saying, like if you want that thing, it used to be when my kids were little, I would say, wait and we'll get it at Springs. Now I say, get it now because we may never see it again.
Yes.
But,
Very well. Very true.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about like just a generic, like a princess dress, that should be something that everybody should be able to have access to, and this is a specific dress that's at this resort. You're at Disney World. You're not on Shop Disney. Those are a little bit different. Those dresses are different, but you still should. And like the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique used to be at Disney Springs. Now it's shuttered. It's something that's
Yeah.
behind a paywall. You have to buy a park ticket to get there.
Yeah. Well, and it's so funny as we've been talking about behind a paywall, and we're specifically usually talking about the hard ticket events. Now we're just saying getting into the park is a paywall, but you're right, it is. They also have a Walt Disney World store now down on iDrive, but like it does also seem like if you're on the resort, you should be able to get things that maybe you can't get there, and I guess you can because it's not huge. But to your point, you're like, if I'm already here and I've already paid the piper and I'm already on grounds, you should let me get whatever I want to from this place. And there are enough stores and spaces to do it because again, they doubled the size of how many stores are there. And so I do still like the layout of Disney Springs that you can walk around and kind of like cut through from one place to the next, and nothing is, unless you're trying to get from the Rainforest Cafe to Cirque du Soleil, you're really not going to have to cover all that much ground. There is no choice. You are as far away as possible. One last thing I want to ask you, have you ever seen either Lanuba or the new Drawn to Life?
Drawn to Life, and it's fantastic. I highly recommend it. If you are there and you're not spending a day for a park, that is fully worth the cost of a ticket to go and see that. And like you said, you could spend the entire day at Springs, go bowling or do something fun, aerofoil, balloon, that kind of thing beforehand, and then go and see the Cirque show that night. It is very good. Has all the feels. You're going to cry, you're going to laugh, and it's very impressive. And it holds everyone's attention. It's not just for adults, it's for kids too.
All right. So before we get to the final thought on this, one last thing I want to talk about is the future. So with the future of Disney Springs, we're kind of there. Most of the things that are going to open up have opened up. There's less of that whole everything is under construction now that Summer House is open, and so there's less of this just construction congestion going on there. Every now and then there's something that happens, but right now the biggest thing is that the Disney Quest was demolished. They built the NBA Experience building. Then they shuttered that after COVID, or I guess it closed before COVID and never came back. And now there's something new called Level 99. That's the only big thing that I know that is definitely coming to Disney Springs is Level 99, which is called like a social gaming interactive experience. And so it's like you go with a bunch of friends and you do things and you do challenges, and it feels like a little bit like an indoor ropes course if you ever did one of those for team building. Are you excited about that?
I think it looks fun. It looks like an adult version of Surge, if anybody's heard of that. We have those down here, and it's like laser tag and ropes and things like that for kids. But this is an adult version of that. And it's almost kind of throwing in some escape room type, puzzles and things like that you have to do, team building, teamwork. So yeah, it looks like fun, and I hope that it does much better than the MPA experience ever did.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know again of much else coming to Disney Springs, and if there are, we'll talk about them in future episodes. But right now, like I think that's the biggest thing that's coming. But we're kind of good. Like we're kind of good with what's there right now. There are a lot more I think experiences at Disney Springs than there are at downtown Disney. And again,
Definitely.
it's a bigger area, obviously, but you can take the duck boats over at the boathouse, or you can go to the characters in flight,
Cars.
or you can, the aqua cars. You can go to characters in flight, or you can go to, and what's the name of it now? It's not called characters in flight. It's called something else.
I think it's Aerophile.
Aerophile. You can go sometimes see a band at House of Blues. You can go bowl at Splitsville. You can see Drawn to Life. You can go to the Coca-Cola experience that's over there. And, that feels more like an experience, I think, to me. Or there's a bandstand out there. Now, they have entertainment at both.
Yes.
So, but I mean, there are bandstands there. And then again, sometimes at night, they can do drone shows at Disney World, at Disney Springs. They just don't anymore. I wish that was a nightly thing, because I think that brought a lot of energy to that area.
Definitely.
So.
It definitely did. And it was so unique because it was so cool. You don't see it, over in Paris, I guess, is the closest place you can see it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, over at Downton Disney, they've been opening things like that Avengers store, and they also have a couple other restaurants that are coming, including, like we talked about, the Earl of Sandwich is moving from where it is over by the entrance to the Esplanade. It's moving down closer towards where the Tortilla Joe's was. And so here's a look at the building right here that's going to be Earl of Sandwich, but then above it is going to be this Carnaby, which is a tavern. It's I think a gastropub, is that right? From Gordon Ramsay. And then Porto's Bakery is something that our good friend Josh Damaro teased at D23 like 2 D23s ago, so like 4 years ago. He teased that was coming. He gave out samples of Porto's Bakery to us, and my wife tasted it and was like, I want to go to there. I want to be wherever this place is. And so we've been talking about how we wish that would happen. It's going to be a more upscale Portos than any of the others that are out there in California, but people are out in California really love that place. It says all your favorites, including hot sandwiches, salads, and sweets. And I think at one point they were going to also have or that may be Earl of Sandwich, but the Portos Bakery, it says construction will begin in 2025 on that one, so very soon, because they just closed down Earl of Sandwich. But it was supposed to be like maybe an upscale, like with a bar, I believe, is what they said about that. So again, always under construction, always growing. But the restaurants, don't seem to hold for too long. So I hope some of these choices that they're making are going to be a little bit more evergreen. They've set up a lot more like spaces to hang out in at Disneyland, at Downtown Disney. So I feel like it's becoming a better place, but there's still more to come there. So before we wrap up here, I'm going to get your final thoughts on which one you prefer. after we've talked about all this. But before we go, I want to thank everybody who has been with us tonight in the chat. Thank you guys for being with us live on your Sunday night. Oh wait, we have a super chat. So hold on a second. We have to do the thing. It's from CKB. It says, gloomy Sunday in the PNW, Pacific Northwest. I just want to throw that out to you. Some humoring validation for Pet Shop Boys reference, East End Boys and West End Girls. It's told you it's gloomy, fun show. Thank you so much, CKB. Appreciate it. That's very, very kind of you. Appreciate the super chats as always. Anyway, as I was saying, thank you guys all for hanging out with us tonight and spending your Sunday nights with us. I do want to give a special shout out to our Park Adventurers Club members. Thank you for being members of the pack and being supportive of our channel. And please tell a friend. We'd love to get some more people into the funnel. If you want to learn more, you can show up at patreon.com/GoPack. That's how you become a member of the pack, and we have our own Discord, and we try to keep it entertaining, and we have a community in there, and it's a lot of fun to hang out with you guys all the time. We do a random question of the day. That's a lot of fun to see how Jay Ware will mess it up from time to time and get crazy on it. But no, I absolutely enjoy it. So thank you guys for being members. We have a lot of programming on this channel. So here's the schedule of coming up. Is tonight you're here, the Park Adventures Club. We got Wednesday. Stephanie's coming back. I haven't heard back to talk about Mickey and the very many Christmases because she promised me it's awesome. It's
Groundhog's Day all over again. You're going to see me again.
And then Friday night, my son is coming on to challenge 3 more Disney folks to some Hakuna Matrivia. That is our Disney trivia show that we do live. And then next Sunday, we'll be back for another Park Adventures Club. So please make sure to stay tuned. Also, last Friday, we dropped Stephanie's show. It's called Castaways. She and Ron were on there. Do you want to talk about that one, Stephanie?
Okay, I love this episode. I know Ron is great and he has so many wonderful stories, but we just got through with Halloween and he talks about his connection, more deeply connected to the Haunted Mansion than I even knew. So I love it, and please go check it out.
Okay, yeah. So again, we have a lot of content on this channel, over 600 videos if you count the shorts. So we would love it if you guys would hang out with us. Ronald's saying, when are you doing your Tokyo trip stuff? I am actually still working on that, buddy. I'm trying to do a produce part, and the first one will be produced, and all the rest of them may have to be live so that I don't hold it back anymore, because I've got a lot of stuff I want to talk about with the Tokyo trip we took. But the first one was about planning your first trip, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this Tuesday will be Tokyo Tuesday, and then every Tuesday after will be Tokyo Tuesday. So thank you, Ronald, for keeping me honest in the chat there. I appreciate it. So yeah, Ron had some great stories, said Ronald. So that's just one Ron to another, I guess, is how that's going. But yeah, definitely check that out. ParkAdventuresClub.com is how you find us at any given time. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit like on this video. Thank you guys for showing up tonight. But let's close this meeting out, Stephanie, with a final verdict, because, you know, when we put this up, we said, hey, this is Disney Springs versus Downtown Disney. Don't let the history you have with Disney World cloud your judgment. I need an honest answer, opinion. The people need to know is which one's better, which one stacks up.
So I know that with pretty much everything, it's location, location, location. So you would think I would say Downtown Disney or Downton Disney, but what I'm actually going to say is Disney Springs. And that's because it's a vibe. It truly is. It's a vibe. And we were there, like I said, it was extremely packed. You couldn't even barely walk through. And this is not just this random Friday night, but there were multiple bands. You're talking about how many bandstands they have. There were multiple bands. There was band at House of Blues, all the way to the market, you know, all the way at the other end. There was tons of stuff going on. People just spontaneous conga lines and things like that. So it is definitely a fun place to be on the weekends, at least the weekends. But yeah, I'm going to go with Springs because of all the dining options, the multiple things to do, and Cirque. Cirque just puts it over the top. They really do.
Well, I've not seen that show yet, but I want to. But there's so much to do at Disney World that I kind of feel like I don't know. We always try to spend some time at Disney Springs when we go on a trip, but I don't usually have enough time to do the show too, but if I'm there, I may be for like a hard ticket event. So I'm like spending my nights at Jollywood or spending my nights at Mickey's Very Merry and not spending them over at Drawn to Life. And I always think to myself, I will be able to go there some point. I'm glad it's there. But then again, sometimes that stuff ends and you never get to go to the NBA experience, or you never get to go to Disney Quest, or you never get to go to the Void because they're going to get rid of it. So there's a lot of things that I want to do that I haven't had a chance to do at Disney Springs, but I know that they're there. And so like I should take more advantage of them. So I'm going to agree with you. Downtown Disney is a great experience because, like I said, if you're staying in one of those hotels, it's great. If you're in the parks and you want to run to the hotel to try out that hotel bar, to try out that hotel restaurant, that's an awesome time too. So it's convenience wise and location wise, it's great if you're in the parks, but it feels like I was in the parks and I'm passing through and I may do some things, but I'm just needing to get back to my car and go. And so I don't know that there's a lot of people who come specifically for that. So it feels like they have different use cases. I think the opposite is true of Disney Springs. You don't usually like leave Magic Kingdom and go directly to Disney Springs. You're going to go to the room, unpack all your backpacks and stuff and chill out for a little, and then go have another experience at Disney Springs. And I think you're right. I think it is a vibe. There's a different vibe there. I wish they would do more in terms of the drone show being there. Like, I think that was great when they had that, but you've got the movie theater still there. You can go see a movie. You can go to a nice restaurant. You can go to a nice fun restaurant. You can go to, shop and all these things that are there. Or just like you said, just kind of chill out. Right now, the Christmas tree stroll, you could go and just stroll and watch the Christmas trees, and you don't have to pay to park. You could just go park, get strip searched through security, then get through and go to see the trees and have your picture taken at the Disney drop shop, opening up something. And I think there's a lot more space, which is very cool. I think that the whole waterway is neat. It can be tranquil if you're in the right place. Sometimes it can be crazy if you're in the wrong place, Stephanie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say, unfortunately, while they're both shopping districts, and to those people who are in our lives who go and say, why do you do Disney and aren't they all the same? I would say these are definitely very different experiences. But if you had to choose one, I think you got to choose Springs for the restaurants, for the vibe, for the options for entertainment, and the fact that you can just pull up, do your thing, and leave and not have to pay for parking or anything else. So it's got to be great for people who are local too, to be able to go in there, because anything else is either going to cost you money or be a huge chore. Like City Walk is the same thing. You got to pay to park over there. Mm-hmm. So
for sure.
Anyway, let us know in the comments what you think. We definitely want to hear from you. I'm sure the Disneyland folks are very particular about their downtown Disney. So I would love to hear your counterpoints on that one. If you're from Disney Springs, let us know things like, what was your favorite restaurant, or what do you do, or how do you incorporate that into your vacation so that other people can learn from what you guys do. That's part of the reason we do this. We do love talking to you guys about Disney, but we also love sharing stories that might help you on your next Disney experience. So Stephanie, thank you so much for being here and talking about this with me. I appreciate you. Let's do it again Wednesday night. What do you think?
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a great week. Be safe, and remember, adventure is out there. Take care.